I knew kind of going into it because we had rented the Ice Palace like 2 years in a row for that show Army Wives, and just to see the production and what it entails to pull something off. Like, and I was actually in Army Wives. I was the guy. You saw my feet, my hands, my stick, and I was shooting on the young lady who actually the girl that was in that show. She was the goalie at Cornell. Like she was legit. I was firing pucks at her, but I didn't get any FaceTime in that.
We'll have to update the IMDb for you.
Yeah, they could have had a future star.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean shit, it was crazy. They'd rent the place like for 6 consecutive days. They'd show up at like 6 a.m. and they wouldn't leave till Christ midnight, and they just basically took the whole Ice Palace over. And then when I watched the show, because I wanted to see how it turned out, right, like the scenes from the Ice Palace, and no word of a lie, 30 seconds of the show for everything they did. I was like, you have to be kidding me.
So, you having fun yet?
Welcome to this week's episode of the Late Game Podcast. I am co-creator, actor, producer Jeffrey M. Zucker, here along with one of my most favorite people in the world, my business partner and co-creator, Jeff Tyner.
Hello, baby. It's good to see that stash.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a long story how it came to be, but I'm going to, just let it hang out there for a while until the beard grows back so I don't feel naked.
I like that. I'm the same way.
And I forgot to mention your lauded titles of writer and director as well. The brains behind TLG. Next time we should coordinate stashings. But yeah, so let's just start off, digging into Beer League. A few things came up this week. I know you joined back up with one of the two Pizza Boy teams, so now you're on both of them again?
I am back on both Pizza Boys teams, yes. We had a month off at the DU League because they do a lot of graduations out of DU, so they just kind of shut the ice down for a month. So first game back, we had one of the more special subs I've ever played with, freshman DU player Miko Matika, third rounder for the Coyotes. He was really fucking good, and he was a super cool guy, so that was a treat. He was playing the game before ours. We got a DU club player to sub for us, and he knew Miko, so I asked him, and he obliged as a sweetheart.
I mean, it's pretty rare for a beer leaguer to get to play with someone who's actively playing that level of hockey. Like, this guy's playing on the best D1 team of all time, arguably with the most national championships.
Yeah, his phone lock screen was him licking the national championship trophy. It was pretty badass. But yeah, it's a pretty humble kid. He had played the game before ours, and who knows if he did anything else before that. But like, he did not exert a lot of effort and just dangled through everybody and just...
Right. Not exerting a lot of effort isn't a bad thing. It's how he needed to play in that atmosphere, just for clarification.
He was not going to go too hard, and he was a very nice pleasure to play with. And then, so let's see, I've played 2 games at DU that were both pretty fun. Had kidney stones in between those, so that second DU game was the biggest struggle I think I've ever had on the ice. But glad to be on the other side of it. And then I joined up with my other Pizza Boys team that we've moved leagues to the RMHL, the Rocky Mountain Hockey League, but this is at the Ice Ranch, which is right by my house.
Yep, I'm a former RMHLer.
It's an elite alumni. We lost that game playing against another active college player. The teams were really even, but they had an active D3 player. I didn't catch his name or where he played, but he was really good. And he could have definitely tried harder, but wasn't as foot off the gas as Miko was. So, and their goalie was super. He was a former D3 player, but he had Bowling Green pads, so I chatted him up a little bit. His goalie coach was from Bowling Green. The pads were super sick, and he was really, really good. So, I mean, you could have told me he was an active BG goalie, and I would have believed it with how good he was. He's a huge fucking dude, too. But yeah, good to be back with the Pizza Boys. I'd miss those dudes. But yeah, and while we're in some Bear Seals limbo, as you've been kind of taking the lead on.
Before we dig into that, I have a couple questions on the Pizza Boys. So, one, how soon after this kidney stone incident, which is like one of my biggest fears, how soon after that were you on the ice? You said it was a struggle.
So, I mean, I played Friday morning. So this happened on a Tuesday. So I played our Bear Seals game, our last Bear Seals game Monday night. I thought it was kind of a late one. I could be wrong. No, I think it was a 7 o'clocker, but still played in that game. And then 5 a.m. the next morning, just woke up with probably the worst pain I felt since my first knee injury. I had like a super vivid dream of having this horrible abdominal pain. And then I wake up and I realize that's reality. And, yeah, so passed it the same day, but then I played on Friday, but then I missed my dosage of Flomax, which keeps your kidney dilated to just kind of help facilitate healing and passing the stone. And Friday was about as bad as Tuesday in terms of pain. So I was fine about 24 hours later. I got my dosage right and everything, but I was just, you take a week off. I've been pretty diligent about my off ice exercise, but just taking a full week off of that, playing on Sunday. And then for those who are unfamiliar, Magnus Arena, they will cool it off when DU actually plays their games, but in all other times, that's the hottest fucking rink I've ever played in. So I think it was a combo of that too, didn't help. But thankfully, shout out my boy Greeny, who is the resident dentist of the Pizza Boys. He's got a John Calamino shirt, no big deal. He's like a triathlon. I don't think he actually runs triathlons, but he's a very, very fit dude.
Like John.
Yeah. So he knew what I was going through. So he was very vocal in calling me off the ice when he could tell I was tired, like didn't want me to feel like I needed to be out there too long. So he made it better than it would have been. Cause you don't want to, when you only have 6 forwards, you don't want to be the one guy taking 30-second shifts when everyone else is in that minute 30 range. So thankfully Greeny and I were on the same page. So that was a hard fucking game to get through though.
Well, I'm glad that you made it. And did you play last night?
Yeah. So this is where we're doing this on a Thursday. So yeah, that game with the active D3 player and the Bowling Green Pads goalie, that was last night.
That was last. Oh, okay. So I guess Waddy asked me for a bunch of goalie contact info yesterday. I guess he didn't use one of mine. I thought he was going to use Kyle.
No, yeah, we used Kyle. I forgot to mention. Yeah, I should have led with that. We used Kyle. Bear Seals goalie aficionado.
Oh, you were playing got it. So Kyle played for you guys. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we were against the Bowling Green goalie. Bowling Green Pads goalie.
Nice. Well, that's fun that you got to have some Bear Seals Pizza Boy crossovers with Kyle. And, hopefully Waddy was satisfied with Kyle's play. He was there was a lot of strategy in who I was giving him.
We just, we gave him no goal support because that other goalie just locked it down. So, and like I said, they had a couple young kids that really tilted the game. But it was a chill game overall. It wasn't, I'm always appreciative when I can be in front of the net and the defenseman's first move isn't just obliterating my kidneys, especially with recent events. So no complaints with the game. It just would have been nice to be closer, I guess. I think we lost 6-2. But I told this to my brother Kirk. We went empty net for the last 3 minutes trying to get a spark and no goal against. So that's kind of an anomaly. That's something pretty cool to have. So and then been breaking in a new pair of skates too. So I got like a full set of new gear now almost. I had to say goodbye to my 22-year-old shin pads, which was long overdue.
Damn. Well, sad to see them go, but probably the best for your body.
Definitely for my shins, because every blocked shot with my old set was painful. So it was long overdue.
And then you mentioned we're in a debacle of sorts with the Bear Seals. So, the way that our seasons are broken down in a lot of these leagues, including that one, is we've got that longer 20-game fall-winter, and then you've got a 10-game spring, a 10-game summer season. And, each time you have to get your team to re-register. Like each individual has to go on the website, re-register. And it's just like every time, like, do they not know how hard it is to get grown men to do shit like this? Like most of them. And I emailed them like a couple weeks ago and was like, hey, can you tell me who all has signed up for us so far so I can get on the other guys. Never heard back from them. And then a bunch of us get emails earlier this week that we are on another team, the Canned Hams. My initial thought was, oh, they just forgot to paste Spare Seals into these emails, and they sent it out to our whole list with the wrong team name. So we email them, and they say, no, you only had 6 players signed up. We're combining teams. Weren't going to tell you.
Yeah, they would do that with my old team.
Yeah, we like build communities with our teams. So it's like a very jarring thing, and like, it's certainly largely on our team for not the other people not registering. But I tried to communicate weeks ago about that to try to put some effort into, like, their communication could be better. And especially in terms of like, here's what we're going to do. It would have been nice if it had been a discussion. And so, I actually took it upon myself to email them as well. In addition, a suggestion that if there is a platform that could facilitate it, it'd be great if, like, each season you can just decide if you're opting in or not. Right? Like, you're already registered, but it's like, do you want to play spring? Yes or no? And like, that triggers their payment, that triggers, them adding to the roster. And then it's way easier to get these dudes to do that. So we'll see if anything happens there. It's up in the air right now. We've been busy the last couple of days. It was my son's birthday. And Bo was taking over trying to like negotiate with the rink in terms of what our potential remedies are. But I know the first game's on Monday, so I guess we're going to have to get that ironed out here over the next few days. And I think it's frustrating. It's concerning. And like, I hated to see people saying in our chat, like, oh, should we just skip this session? I'm like, no, we shouldn't skip this session. No. We'll figure it out. Like, I'm always down to figure it out. Like, I'm like, even if we don't have enough guys this session, there's definitely some guys who had reasons to not be in for summer. I think I can recruit enough dudes. And as long as we get whatever the minimum is to pay, then we can like fill with subs too in the regular season.
Yeah, that Big Bear always used to do this with my old team, the Dusty Buckets. So I shouldn't have been surprised by it all.
Do you recall like what the remedies were, or if you just kind of had to do what they said?
We had better people. We had more people signing up. I'll say that. So we would have 10 or 12 or whatever it was, but we would get multiple randos kind of walk into that first game. I'm like, oh, hey guys. And then shout out to my buddy Lee. He was a pro. I'd be like, hey bud, can I just talk to you in the hallway real quick? And send the guys home, One time we did it and the kid joined the other team for that game. And of course he scored like 2 goals or some shit. But they've even put a second goalie on our team. And it's like, what? You can't do that, it's pretty fucked. Yeah, and they don't tell you. They don't tell you the shit. They just hey, you show up and figure it out is their approach.
Yeah, and I think this could all benefit from communication, So if any Big Bear people are listening, no hard feelings. Let's chat. We can help improve beer league relations with any rink out there listening. If you'd like to bring on the late game as a beer league relations ambassador, we would be very excited for that. And all right, well, hopefully we'll get that ironed out. See what happens. We gotta reach out from a fan named John in our Instagram DMs. He told us just a really awful, devastating story about a man, Eugene Stepaniak, who passed away while at a skate at age 39. Super sad. Leaves behind an expectant wife as well as a young son. Super sad times. We send our condolences out, and if there's anything else we can do for you guys, feel free to reach out anytime. And we're going to put the GoFundMe link for Eugene's family in the show notes. And we just wish that community the best and healing, and sending love from the late game.
Yeah, definitely. It's terrible fucking news, man. I hate to hear it.
Yeah, and we move on as we can, and keep playing hockey. So Now that we've gotten through that and some hockey topics, have you been watching anything good the last week?
Yeah, a little bit. Megan and I double dipped last weekend, and we did The Watchers, which was directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. And it was, I like, it was solid. I like certain things about it. Other things not as much, but overall very positive experience in the theater. Especially this was like when I saw Babes. Um, I hadn't seen a trailer or anything. I went in totally blind, so like a really fun ride, but just maybe some choices I wouldn't have made. But still glad I watched it. Um, Somehow I got Megan to go see the new Bad Boys movie the next day, and I love like Bad Boys 2 was like the first DVD I ever had. Love that movie so much, and I love Martin Lawrence. Ironically, unironically, I don't even know, but I love his movies, and I will not be ashamed of that. So I managed to get Megan to also watch Bad Boys 2 the next day, to understand the lore. You know, it's a really deep lore they have. But yeah, the craziest thing I watched was this Netflix documentary Trainwreck on Woodstock 99, which like I always knew there was a Woodstock 99 and like Limp Bizkit and Korn and shit were at it, but like that was the extent of my knowledge. And holy shit, man. Like, do you know anything about the real life event? Or have you seen this?
I do not. I mean, I'm guessing it was like equivalent to the Fire Festival, given how you're describing it.
But like, I don't even how you know how many people like I think it was way more people though. Like I don't know how many people went to Fire Festival, but like they were more fucked geographically. So this was at like an Air Force base, like a discontinued Air Force base in somewhere in the state of New York, and it was like 250 300,000 people there, and like no infrastructure for it. Like it gave me so much anxiety just watching it of just like how much of a shit show it was, man. Like,
Maybe I watched like a short on it once because this sounds kind of familiar.
dude, it was mind blowing. Yes, 3 episodes, so like about 3 hours in runtime total. Um, and it just really spurred me and Megan to like Google a bunch of shit because like if there's one disappointing aspect of it, you know, the way a lot of documentaries, they have like the last minute of it is all like text that tells you outcomes or what happened, and there's really none of that. So I did have unanswered questions that, but you know, I Googled it, I found out some stuff, but such a shit show. And they have some of the talking heads are like the people that put it on, and they're still so they refuse to admit like any fault. You know, like they still try to say it's a few bad apples, but like it was very much a you know, the original Woodstock was all about peace and love and community and getting together, and then this was just a money making venture. So like, not only were they price gouging things, but they were like not letting people bring in water or anything, and it's like 100 degrees, and they're on nothing but asphalt. You know, like they're not in this nice meadow or anything like the original Woodstock. It's nuts, man. It looked like the worst. All I could think about is like if I went to that with friends, but like rode with someone else and I was trapped there, I would lose my fucking mind. Like it looked like such a terrible fucking time, and just like scum of the earth fucking people there too, man. Is I highly recommend watching it because it's fucking mind blowing. But that was the big thing I've watched since we last spoke.
Did you say which platform that's on?
Netflix.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. Sounds like a horrible experience. Very glad not to have been there.
Well, the thing is though, is like so they have some of the talking heads are people who are just like normal people who were there. And then in one case, like there's a woman who, you know, she was 14 when she went. And the last episode they finally give you a little like some news footage of her of the time. There were a couple other dudes, but like they all said as horrible as all these things were, they'd probably still do it again, which is mind blowing too. So like the journey of all of that is wild to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they made it through. It's a story, I guess. So
I guess, yeah, right.
interesting. Well, yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I've watched a few things since we last discussed, but the main thing that's really been sticking with me and I've been thinking about is a 2021 movie, Red Rocket. Um, I was very fortunate about a year and a half ago to get the chance to have breakfast with Judd Apatow, and we were talking about um, just like how he likes to create real life type of movies, basically, like that things that can happen to real people and make them very real and raw. And Red Rocket came up, which I hadn't yet seen. And I finally have followed up on his recommendation a year and a half later and watched it on a plane. And for those that don't know, it's basically about like a washed up porn star going back home to Texas. And yeah, I mean, it's just I'm surprised with how much I've still been thinking about it. And I think part of the reason is because like not a lot happens in the movie. It's a lot of beautiful, raw, like real life acting. The acting's amazing. Like it's very well done, but like it's not like a huge story arc. Um, and so to me at first that makes me feel like missing a little bit, but I know that's also a style, and I like that. And late game is kind of just like a window into a world, and but it's just been sticking with me, and I keep thinking about it. And I think part of it is because they left so much to interpretation, right? Like I'm like there's so many at the beginning and the end. They leave so much to kind of you to guess at. And yeah, I mean, I think it was a really interesting movie, like that I could see. I didn't like look up to see how it's rated and stuff online, but well, actually on IMDb it was a 7. Um, I could see what the shit talkers would say, but it was really good.
Love to hear it. I forget that lead's name, but I really like his work. Scary Movie 3, among other things. Yeah, it's I love ambiguity in movies, man. I mean, the ultimate compliment you can pay a movie is if you're thinking about it days later. Like that's what you hope an audience member does. So that's pretty lofty praise.
It's like when I watched Inception, like it wouldn't have surprised me if you told me I was still thinking about that days later, but this one I'm surprised to still be contemplating. And I think part of it is like just how raw and real the characters were combined with that ambiguity. It's like you're thinking of them like real people.
Definitely, I like that.
So shout out to those guys. I'm pretty sure the director's name is Sean Baker, but I could be wrong.
Gotcha. What else you been watching?
I mean that's the one I've been thinking about. I finished first season of Shogun, which was awesome. Highly recommend to people. I think I mentioned in a previous episode, to me, it feels like Game of Thrones if it took place in real world, historic Japan. This takes place when the Japanese and the Portuguese have, started collaborating, and an Englishman kind of shows up and throws a wrench into all that. But super good, interesting. And I think it was originally going to be just a mini series, and now I believe it's been renewed for 2 more seasons. So I'm really excited to see those. And yeah, I mean, the other thing I had on my list to mention about shows is I don't know if I ever followed up with about Unlocked, that jail sort of experiment show that I watched.
Yeah, I know you started it. I can't remember if you told me any. You said you would get back to me once you finished it. I think was
Yeah,
the
I did eventually finish it. It was great. I really felt stuff for a lot of the people in there, especially doing a lot of work in criminal justice reform. So overall, I think it was good. I think it was a little bit exploitative of these individuals. Um, I'm sure that was partially intention of the filmmaker and less so of the sheriff that implemented this. But to read about the shit the sheriff's gotten since then is frustrating, because I do think that it showed the humanity of so many people inside. It was a great example of like these are humans just like you and me that made a mistake, and the law's not always right about who deserves time and what for, etc. So, and your worst mistake shouldn't define your whole life. And so I thought it was great, like giving them some more freedom and humanity, and it showed like how much it affected them. So I hope it makes a difference. I hope at least some more people get to try that, try out those types of experiments, and that our prison system can move toward being truly rehabilitative, like it is in some countries. So, overall, I think it was a good thing just to even get people thinking about those things, whether or not, aspects of it were exploitative.
good to hear.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Yeah, Red Rocket's sticking with me, so definitely watch that when you get the chance. Curious what you think. And now, we're going to lead into the interview with Matt Mons, who played Mark the Ref. And, I've known Matt since I was, I think, like 9 or 10 years old. We talk about it in there, and he's like a second brother to me. And it was really cool, just kind of the full circle of having him involved in the movie, like me having grown up at the rink with him pretty much every day as a kid. And then getting to do this where we got to, spend all this time together again at the rink. And then, for him to have to work with people he'd suspended and stuff, we get into that as well. It was just like a really cool kind of circular moment in our relationship to get to make the movie together. So I'm really proud that we did that he was involved. I'm so glad that it lined up and worked out. It didn't have to work out for him to be able to do it. And I'm really glad that it did.
Yeah, the movie's better with him in it, so it's pretty wild. I've always liked Matt. I've gotten to see the other side of him, whereas most people just see him as the mean hockey director. So it's been cool to see, man. And he's, like I said, he's fucking great. So it was a good time talking to him again.
Yeah. So without further ado, here is Matt Mons on the Late Game Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use code THPN. Summertime and the trimming is easy. Most guys know the fear of going to clean things up down there and getting a nick or worse. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind. What's life been like since the late game came out?
Well, work ended mid-March for me, so I playing a lot of golf lately. The new job that I took 3 years ago there enables me to, have a couple months off in the summer and enjoy living on the golf course. So that's what I've been doing. Both boys, Blake's home from college and Colton graduated, so we're trying to play some golf.
Yeah, and you mentioned playing golf with your sons. I know your youngest just graduated high school. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, so he's going to. He was at Ashley Ridge, and he played the last 3 years on the golf team. And he decided last year that he loved golf more than hockey, and so now he applied for the PGA golf program that they have. So it's a 4-year business school, and then it's geared towards the golf industry. And he got accepted into that. So he's off to Coastal Carolina to do that. And then Blake was up in New England College for his first year, 21-year-old freshman, because he played 4 years of junior hockey, and he went up there to play hockey, and unfortunately his hips caught up to him being a goalie, and had to have surgery, and he opted not to do that. But thank God he's a very good golfer in his own right, and probably hockey was A1, this would be A2, so we had something to fall back on. So he was able to make the college team up there first year and played some NCAA D3 golf. And not being able to play hockey, he was going to go back, but he was able to also get into Coastal Carolina and got accepted into the same program as Colton. So I'm going to have both boys at Coastal Carolina taking the business PGA program.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool path, and you'll get to keep them relatively close to home.
Yeah, that was a struggle with them with Blake being up in New England College. Thank God I had my cousin Troy, best man at my wedding, and grew up with Troy and our buddies. He lived like 40 minutes away from the school, so we were able to make a couple trips and stay with him and catch up with him. So that was nice for year one there.
Nice. Well, what what did you think when you first heard about the late game, or where did that start for you?
Well, if you recall, you guys, God, I want to say it was 4, 5. I mean, shit, I don't know how long ago it was. Like 5 years ago, maybe. You had your entourage of guys from your movie company, your production
Yeah,
company.
that might have been like 8 years ago, but
Eight
yeah.
years ago. Yeah, time flies, man. I don't know. Yeah, so they came. You came with them, and I gave them a tour of the rink and stuff. And you had that idea that you were going to do a kind of a. It was, I remember Russ LaFrance was going to. You were building it around that. So the storyline changed, but I always remember it was like a disgruntled coach or something like that. You were gonna base it on that.
Yeah, we had a concept we work on that was kind of like workplace comedy at the rink. And yeah, like coaches we've had like Russ and like you know, we're people that we were basing this main character around.
Yeah, I'd say it was a combo of a few people.
Yep. Yeah, we ended up going the beer league movie path, and yeah, I think this is it's worth backing up a little bit to your history at the rink. I remember meeting you. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and you had just taken the job as the pro shop manager and the hockey director at the Ice Palace. And I just heard that the new guy broke the glass with a slap shot, so I was excited.
That is funny. Yeah, the my second day that I got hired, I went out for a pickup. I'd had my skates on in a while, and yeah, I let one rip and shattered the glass. And the GM at the time, I don't know, it was a female, and she pulled me into the office and expected me to pay for it. I mean, I was laughing. I mean, clearly she had no idea how it worked, but yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny. So that was my start there. Yeah, I started in 98, and yeah, hockey director, and then ran the pro shop. I mean, I didn't know how to run a pro shop. I knew all about hockey gear and stuff because I mean, hockey's been my entire life, right? So I guess it was just the best fit. They didn't have anybody, so I did that for a while, and then transitioned to hockey director, and then hockey director and GM, and so on. But yeah, I was there 98 until 2021.
It's a great run, and I think when you were coming in with not much beyond hockey experience, that was a valuable thing in Charleston. There weren't a lot of Canadian former junior hockey players around. What was the transition like from growing up in Petawawa, Ontario, to then going to the South and being at the rink in North Charleston?
It was awesome. I mean, my career ended at 20 years old, 21 years old, 5 years of junior hockey. I had three shoulder surgeries, and that was the end of that for me. So I got a psychology degree, and the only reason why I did it, my sister is a year and a half younger than me, and I wasn't going to let her one up me and get a degree. So I forced myself to do that, and it was I got through it, and yeah, I got the job with you guys. And I remember it's such hockey's such a small world. Like, so the Team Ontario under 17 camp that I was at, Steve Parson was at that camp, and Steve Parson was working at the rink at the time. He had just finished up at the Stingrays, and he got a real job, and you guys hired him at the rink. So him and I connected right away when I started there, and the background that, hey, shit, we probably played against each other, and we were at the same camp as 16-year-olds. So it's pretty funny there. And then the one that actually hired me, Lester Griffin, was working at the rink, and he's the one that was, and it was kind of funny. I know why he hired me, because Casey was playing, and he wanted me to work with his kid.
Man, blast from the past.
So that's going way back, but no, it was great. It was a great run. I enjoyed working there. It was my real professional work experience where I started, and right out of school, and yeah, and then I guess I was a little bit of a mentor, big brother for you, so I got to watch you grow up and all the shenanigans and stuff that you went through, and you we talked a lot, and especially it was so hilarious when when you went off to university and the phone calls and stuff. And it was no, I was always close with you. Like I said, I felt like you were the younger brother I never had.
Yeah, no, likewise, like a second brother for me. And after you broke the glass, then I was intrigued, and so spent more time with you. And it most of my memories, I feel like I don't have a lot from like age 9 to 18, or like at the rink. A lot of it in the pro shop. So I consider myself having grown up at the Ice Palace, and you were there as well, and it was a good community, a good community of people there.
Yeah, no, we a lot of good people in and out of there, and I'm pissed that I always talked about it, and I should have done it. I should have kept a journal with all the crazy stuff that happened over the years, and I could have had like hockey in the South or whatever you wanted to call it. I could have made a great book, I think, with
Well, how
all
many of them do
the
you remember?
all the crazy shit.
Yeah, if
Oh
you
my
remember
god.
it, you can still write the book.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah, it'd be out of chronological order, but I'm sure the ones that are worth talking about that were funny and crazy, yeah, no doubt.
Is there any one in particular that like immediately comes to mind when you think of that?
I mean, I won't name names, but like it was the crazy. Well, I mean, the parents, obviously, right? The ones that live vicariously through their kids and having to deal with that, and some of the conversations in my office with parents. That was, oh god, I could go on and on. But the funnier ones were obviously the adult stuff late at night, the harpooning a stick across the lobby at another player, and throwing chairs, like people going up on going up onto the roof to have sex. Um, a public session with 200 people out on the ice, and we have those leather sofas right there on the windows, and a mother coming screaming to grab me, and there's two teenagers going right at it, like so people on the ice looked up and saw what was going on. So yeah, so the couches probably up there were not a good idea. They're now hard benches, so you're really going to have to put the effort in if you want to do that.
We did move one of the couches back from the bar when we were shooting the movie to put it in front of the ice there, when your character was sleeping.
My first scene, and yeah, that was tough to have to fart like that on command. By the way,
Oh yeah, every
yeah,
time.
every time. I can't.
Pro.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
you pulled it off. Well, you should still consider your book of absurd hockey stories, even if we have to make it a semi-fictional book and like make up the rest. Like at least write down the ideas. Let's talk about the jersey that Sandy wears, the American flag jersey. That was. I feel like it was kind of a joke for us for a while, and it finally paid off for me. So, for those not familiar, that's the actual jersey my junior Stingrays team wore my junior year of high school. And I think on a recent Facebook post, Russ LaFrance took credit for them, but my understanding of the story was that you ordered them supposedly because they were on sale.
yep. So, well, you guys were the second pick team at your age group, and the numbers were growing. So we really, at that time, it was a hit and miss if we had second teams, and it wasn't like a house league and then like a rec combo team, like you played in the house league and then didn't you play in tournaments with that team? Yeah. So I didn't want to go full bore and buy the expensive jerseys for you guys. So I saw these wonderful red, white, and blue. I thought it'd be funny. Didn't realize that it would put some strain on our relationship. You were really pissed about that. I heard even your mother was not happy, and Anita was like a second mother here in the States for me, and she was upset about it too. So I ruffled some feathers, but
It was bad. I mean, we got made fun of a lot, and it just, the worst part is we were a terrible team because we were that second team. We were just so bad, and so not only were we bad, but we looked like idiots.
well, I figured the shitty jerseys would blend with the shitty hockey. I didn't want to get you with elite jerseys on, and then you come out there and shit the bed hockey wise. So I mean, that was kind of No, they were
So it
terrible.
matched us,
It was
basically.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It
But it
was.
finally paid off. We got to use it.
No, I know. You get Sandy wearing and who knew you born in '87 that your favorite player Crosby and '87's on the back. It was pretty funny too to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's set the record straight. I actually wore 87 before Sid. So, I was gonna do 97 on a jersey, and then I was like, oh, that's too Jeremy Roenick. It was like a Doug Gilmore, Chris Drury combo, and then I was like, I'm gonna go down one. It's also the year I was born. And then, I mean, I don't know if Crosby wore 87 at all before Shattuck's, but he wore 9 at Shattuck, and then, you know, I was wearing 87 at that time. So I'm just gonna say I know where he got it.
Remember, I paid a visit to you in when you were, I don't know, freshman or sophomore, maybe it was when you were in Boston. And we had the junior team, and I stayed with you, and you went to class. And um, if memory serves me right, you had a big ass, like full on size Sidney Crosby.
And yes, I had a giant Crosby fat head on the wall, and it was pretty cool. And you talked about the junior team. We
Yeah,
ran junior C and junior B teams out of the Ice Palace. Even when I
three
was in school in Boston.
three
Yeah, talk
years.
about that
Yeah,
experience and starting that team. And then Tyner played on one of those teams.
yeah. It was what the hell were we called? The Wolverines, the Wolverine program.
Always weird how that name took off.
Well, it was Rusta Herder did it. It was yeah. Once again, there was conflict amongst parents. Go figure. And at that certain age group, that time, um, there was enough kids to separate, right? Like have a couple teams, and for whatever reason, It was before I became a fixture on the board, and I think it was the LHA, not the CYHA at the time. And yeah, they agreed to do separate teams and separate organizations like, which was the stupidest thing ever. But yeah, I remember he pulled the stickers off of each helmet and he put yellow tape, so all those helmets became non-certified. When he started, yeah, he started a few teams. I don't know how many years that may have went on. What would you say,
I
five
played
or
on
six?
one team that
One,
did the full helmet, Michigan look. Um, um, but I played Wolverines through high school, and then so it really made sense.
We're getting really close to crowning the Stanley Cup champion. With the action heating up on the ice, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New to DraftKings? Listen up. New customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500. Just deposit at least $5 and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. One no-sweat bet per new customer. Issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/ice for eligibility. Wagering and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved.
the Wolverines thing was funny, but because of that, at that time they were still. I think they eventually got everybody to switch to that. I think it was just the rec teams were junior A's then. All the full on travel became Wolverines, and then so yeah, Jeffrey and I agreed we should just go with it and keep the junior teams as the Wolverines. So we did it from '07 until 2010. We tried to keep it going, but I just couldn't. I couldn't be. I was coaching. I was GM, hockey director, and then helping a lot with the junior program, and with Jeffrey being at school and stuff. It was a lot of work, and we tried to pawn it off and see if anybody in-house could help or in the hockey community, but it's a lot of damn work. And it just kind of went away in 2011 maybe. And when that went away, that's when we switched and got rid of the whole Wolverine name, and Junior Stingrays became the full on travel in 2011, I believe, as it should be. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a fun experience there running those teams, and I know that I think it was the first year when we were Junior C that they went to the national championship, and that was when you came and stayed with me in Boston, and then Tyner was on that team.
Had the bad knee, I remember. Tyner, you were a good player. We had some good. We were lucky. It just made sense to do that team because we had.
That was a good couple of age groups.
It was. I mean, I can name names.
Dalton Betson, Martin Jockson, Danny Slachek, of course, man. R.I.P. He was one of the best players I've ever played with.
He was one of my favorites. I did private lessons with him since he was like 7 years old. So I was like, that was tough when he passed away, way too young. He was a good kid, yeah. But yeah, we had a good core, and then we were able to bring that kid over from Denmark or Netherlands.
And he brought Marco Bomajian came with him mid-season. Same time as I joined up, Marco joined. We had Ryan Nowak as the goalie from Connecticut, I think, and he was those. Tony and Ryan, they were better than we deserved, I think, for a Junior C team. They really were the anchors for us.
Yeah, because we barely charged them anything, if anything. That's why we were able to circumvent that. And it's an easy sell too. Charleston versus some of the teams in the league. I mean, we were definitely had the best setup. We just built that new locker room. We had a lot of great volunteers. It was Justin Lingeren's dad was awesome. The kid that came from Hilton Head or whatever, Davey
McKinley. Yeah,
McKinley.
His dad was cool as hell, man.
You remember when he got the kidney stone on the bus? Was that?
Yeah.
Were you there?
I wasn't on the team yet, but I was still tight with all those guys while I was still injured. And
we were on a road trip. We were in like Philly or something and just finished a showcase and come on the bus, and he's flailing around on the floor of the bus like a fish out of water, and we were like, what the hell is going on? And he knew it was a kidney stone. I guess he'd had one before.
At 15, that kid looked 30 years old.
He did. He was a hairy son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was fun. And then unfortunately the junior thing just fizzed away, and yeah.
It was more work than it was worth, and then there's been all sorts of junior stories since then we don't need to dig into, but let's talk about, you getting involved in the movie. So, we told you we were going to film this movie at the Ice Palace. What were you thinking initially? Like, what did you think you were signing up for versus what you actually got?
I mean, you asked me. Let's get the record straight. I did find out later that I was not your first choice for the referee, so piss on you two.
I mean, I would say we had other ideas just because we threw around lots of ideas, but we couldn't have ended up with a better ref. I mean, we talked to RA about the ref, but he told us he can't skate.
Yeah, that would have been a problem. He couldn't skate, but it all worked out because he did a hilarious job as the disgruntled Zam drivers. But no, it was fun. You guys, you sent me the script. I went over it briefly, and I was like, what the hell? Some of the lines you put in there for me, I know it was just a general overview of what you were trying to. But I said to my wife Stacy, I said, "There's no chance in hell some of these lines are coming out of my mouth like the way you guys had it." So, but no, read the script.
Yeah, I think you kind of thrived on us just telling you like, this is just the idea you need to get across. Do it your way.
Yeah, as soon as you guys gave me the okay, I was just like, oh, this could be fun.
Oh yeah, no, you were great. Like I remember you did that table read, maybe a week before we started shooting, and we all just looked at each other and were like, oh yeah, this is it, man. Like you just really you nailed it, man. You really made it your own. I've had so many people come up to me like that you're a standout performer. And Zucker and I, we just had a game Monday night where the second ref didn't show up, and I kid you. I mean, he quotes you verbatim all the time. Like every time there was a whistle, he's like, "Little help with the puck." Like he said it like a dozen times. Like it was, it was eerie
And
how
he was like
close
about
it
to pass
was.
out too.
He was tired
Yeah,
in a
so the
different
guy.
way. Like you're like sleepy tired. This dude was out of shape. He was struggling to keep up.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I've never actually been an official referee. I mean, I've with hockey camps and stuff that I ran over the years and stuff. You know, we always had little games at the end of the camp, so I'd put on the referee outfit and stuff. But other than that, just being around the game and stuff, and I've had some beauties as referees, and I knew what you guys were trying to aim for in this movie, so it was some of my one-liners and stuff like that were just seemed to work, I guess.
The one I miss is I'd rather be home jerking off with sandpaper. I wish we could have kept that in. It just didn't stay.
I know that was a bummer. I'm not gonna lie.
We
That,
got your soup sandwich line in there though, so I mean
Yes,
it's
yeah.
not
I'm
all
really
bad.
happy about the soup sandwich. That's a classic Matt Mons line that I've always enjoyed. Fucked up as a soup sandwich.
When I say that, it's like hockey people, like Canadian, they laugh right away. I had a coach say that, and it just I always remembered that, and I thought about it. He said it, and guys like chuckled, and I'm in the locker room going, "Soup sandwich, what the?" And everybody was laughing, and I thought about it, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Like, so anyway, I just remembered. It's funny how you remember certain things as you're growing up, but yeah, I thought it was funny. But the jerking off thing, that I don't even know where the hell that came from. It was you had me do a scene with the goalie where you just wanted me to just like randomly talk to him, and I thought it was I thought it was horrible. Like I didn't know what to say to him, or so. I think the next thing led into that, and I was just like, you know, I got to say something that's funny or off the wall, and all of a sudden that just came to me. But anyway, didn't make it.
We'll have to insert that deleted scene, just that deleted line, if nothing else, because it is a game changer.
Well, I got RA to laugh. He bent right over right away. I think everybody was, and I apologized right away. You do remember that. As soon as I said it, I said, "All right, I'm sorry." But anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I knew kind of going into it because we had rented the Ice Palace like 2 years in a row for that show Army Wives, and just to see the production and what it entails to pull something off. Like, and I was actually in Army Wives. I was the guy. You saw my feet, my hands, my stick, and I was shooting on the young lady who actually the girl that was in that show. She was the goalie at Cornell. Like she was legit. I was firing pucks at her, but I didn't get any FaceTime in that.
We'll have to update the IMDb for you.
Yeah, they could have had a future star.
That was around the time I worked there too. The Army Wives thing. That was like 2009 or so, right?
Yeah, you may have been. Yeah,
I wasn't there for it, but I knew that was going on around then.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, shit, it was crazy. They'd rent the place like for 6 consecutive days. They'd show up at like 6 a.m. and they wouldn't leave till Christ midnight, and they just basically took the whole Ice Palace over. And then when I watched the show, because I wanted to see how it turned out, right, like the scenes from the Ice Palace, and no word of a lie, 30 seconds of the show for everything they did. I was like, you have to be kidding me.
So then you saw that with us too, that like, it can take 6 hours to do a face off.
No shit, like 30. Would you have 38 hours or 30 some hours of actual footage, and you had to condense it into an hour and 20 some? Like, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, every angle, like it could be 5 different angles, 5 different shots for one thing, and
And I mean, just to echo what Tyner was saying, like definitely multiple people have come to me after and saying like either both the ref or the ref and RA are their favorite parts, and people have said, "I can't believe that guy wasn't an actor." And yes, I think you're just a natural.
well, my dad always said I was full of shit. So, but I did. I was you're not. I was shy, like until I started playing junior hockey. Like up until I was about 15, I was shy. Like like my mom had to do everything for me. Like I don't know what it was, and I was always a big guy, but I came out of my shell, I guess, and then I was always, when I played hockey, I was always that smart ass, quick witted, funny guy. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was relatively last minute that we like I think finalized that you were like really going to do it, right? Or no? Were you always going to do it?
No, I mean you asked me,
But then the time actually came.
right? And I said, whatever, because I mean, I had the new job and stuff. I was fine. I mean, I'm able to do whatever I want. I work from home now, so the time wasn't an issue. But I was coaching. Um, what the hell year did we do this? Was it 22? God, it seems. Yeah, so I was coaching Colton's team, and so we made that work. It was the hardest thing was, and I'm sure you guys will say it too. Like I was coming in and out, but you guys were there all the time. Like man, my feet were killing me. Like that was brutal. Like, and I always wore when I played hockey, I always wore my skates a half size too small. So the best thing was when the game was over and I could get those damn skates off. So thank God, um, coaching and teaching and stuff, I got the proper size of skates to at least wear. But holy shit, yeah, my feet were killing me. There was that one day I was there for 8 bloody hours, and
Yep.
that was tough. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
was in skates too. That was one of the worst parts for sure, just the long days in the skates. You know, you did it a little bit less than others, so some may have called you the biggest diva on set. What is your response to that?
Oh, when you get a little bit older and wiser and experienced in life, you can pull that off. So yeah, RA and I commanded a little bit more. So piss off.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, it was definitely a fun experience, the shoot. Um, and what has been the response, since the movie came out? I know we're not out in your homeland of Canada yet, unfortunately. Hopefully, within the next few months. But what kind of response have you heard?
So it's funny. I'll tell you a quick story. I went to Connor Madison Avery Andrews. Connor, Connor Avery Andrews. He was on the junior team too. Tyner. She got married this weekend, so we were at her wedding. It was an awesome wedding. It was at on Folly Beach, and congrats to her. But anyway, I'm in line to get my wife and I a glass of wine, and I hear Coach Matt. I'm like, Coach Matt, what? I turn around, and he's got sunglasses on, and it's goddamn Marcus Mander. Remember Marcus Mander? Um, so anyway, I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Hey, I just watched your movie." I said, "What?" And I like, cause, I was like, "Oh," I said, "Oh yeah, the movie." He goes, "Dude, you were hilarious." He goes, "And that movie," he goes, "I didn't know what to expect." He goes, that was funny as shit." So, I mean, he's 30, 29, 30-ish, I guess, that age. Um, so that was pretty funny. That was obviously the most recent one, but all the kids that I coach, the text messages, and then seeing Colton's buddies, and Blake still has a lot of core friends that I coached, like Marco, Pinata, Brody Smogis, like kids I just love coaching, and they stayed friends throughout all these years, and they come over and they golf, and they were here, and they were all talking about the movie. I guess there's like 6 or 7 of them. They're at USC, and they had a little watch party, and they all came over, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, like we never heard those lines before," and stuff like that, and numb nuts and stuff like that, where I'd call them, and yeah, I mean, I think I was hard as a coach, but I was demanding, but I was fun. I thought I always kept it light, in that respect. But yeah, no. So as for um, my Canadian family and friends, it's hurry up and get it out there. Get it to Amazon CA.
We're working on some different things. It might not be there, but
My mother was here for Colton's graduation, so she flew in and she said, "Can I watch that movie?" So it was just her and I. Stacy was at work, and Colton and Blake, I think, were golfing, and so I said, "Sure." So we watched the movie, and it was funny. The parts that were like the funnier parts, she laughed when she was supposed to on cue, so it was good. So anyway, it was over, and I said, well, because I mean, yeah, I said some. I mean, every second word was a curse word for my thing. So, and she goes, I am very pleasantly surprised. She goes, I didn't know what to expect. She goes, it was cute. She goes, it had a story. So, I mean,
Lofty praise.
from a 70 some year old. Yeah. Yeah. So that was funny, but yeah, no, as my buddies here that have seen it, yeah, they're like, they thought it was funny. Obviously, anybody who's local, right, from here in Charleston, you can resonate with the rink and stuff, and you're like, oh, I see that. That's so and so, and that's part of that, and like you can relate to the rink, and then if you know somebody in the movie, you can relate to the person and the character. So, yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys had me part of it.
We're very glad that you were in the movie as well, and you may have listened to the episode with Tyler and Grayson Durham. So I wanted to give you a chance to sort of tell your side of the story.
The rebuttal.
Yeah, the rebuttal. You know, you've suspended multiple people involved in the movie, and
Myself included.
yeah, we could run through the list.
I suspended you.
Yeah, there wasn't any beef. Actually, I think you let me off a little easy once I stated my case with you. I had to do two hand me on my bad knee, so I fucking clocked him, and I got an extra suspension for instigating. And I texted you or called you, texted you, and I was just like, I didn't start this fight, like you know who I am. So I mean, I still serve. I was like, I'll serve the one game for fighting, absolutely. But I was like, the instigator's bullshit, and you cut me some slack there. But what cracks me up is my mom told me she Googled Knoll, and the very first result is like the discipline report from the Ice Palace. So yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty good list. I mean, it's the Durham boys, me, Knoll. I'm trying to think who else might be in there. Probably Proton, honestly. He's been a while.
Jesus, I didn't realize it went that deep. No wonder when I first skated onto that ice, it was crickets.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think Tyler was a little nervous about it, and I'm like, dude, it's gonna be fine. Because like, I think it's funny how the guys, if you only know you when you were in charge of, when you were hockey director, like, people are only going to talk to you when they're in trouble, basically, or they owe dues or something. So I always thought it was funny that I knew both sides of you pretty well, and it's a shame I didn't get to work at the rink longer once you became GM. I was mostly there under Wayne, so it sucked way worse. But I feel like I would get questions every now and then, like, are you tight with Monzi? I'm like, dude, you don't know him when he's away from having to be a hard ass. So I just always thought it was pretty funny how that pretty quickly ironed itself out on set. Like Tyler and Grayson were like, oh yeah, he's just a guy. Like, he's not Mr. Hard Ass all the time.
Well, I mean, I was put in a role that I had to keep order. If you don't, like, any hockey rink, you talk to any GM, it's the same. It's the same stories. It's universal within the job, and I mean, we wouldn't have had referees if I would have just kind of let a free for all go. It would have been nothing but chaos there. So I mean, I had to. If a referee put something down, I had to somewhat back them. But going to Tyler, and I don't I was thinking long and hard because I watched that, and I was the nemesis I was referred as. I was just like, ooh, that's cold. And then I was trying to think back, like, how that even went down, and I figured it out. He did it to himself. Like, anybody who came in there, if they just came in there and were like, shit, I'm sorry, it was stupid, you know what I mean? And that I would totally understand and get it, because I've been around this game my entire life. But if you came in there short tempered and like a little hothead, and you're going to cop attitude with me, I was like, I don't think so. Anybody who gets suspended, come on. I'm not going to go to them and go, okay, your suspension's over, welcome back. No, he didn't come back to me, and I would have let him come. But that was, yeah, there were so many of them. Like, that adult league was crazy.
It got toxic.
It did, and if I didn't do stuff, like, I hated it every time. I'd come in the next day and I'd grab the score sheets and see if there were suspensions, and that was the crappiest part of the job, because just being around this game my entire life, I know what happens and I know what goes on, and there's always two sides, and But like I said, if you didn't back your referees, we'd have no referees, and then we wouldn't have had leagues. So I was put in a tough spot at times, um, but yeah, the Mr. Durham there, if he just would, if he just would have handled it a little bit differently.
Well, he's a younger guy. He's grown up. He's matured now.
No, I mean, I think he's hilarious. He's still got that cool little vibe about him there too, with his rocking the hairstyles and all tatted up and stuff. They got a look. But no, when I first got on the ice, I made it a point. I'd screw it. I'm the older, wiser guy. I'm just going to be the bigger guy and go right over to them and just say, is there going to be a fucking problem here? Type thing. Are we good? Like, are we? And I mean, we had some chuckles throughout the time we were doing it.
I had a few scenes together too. So yeah, it was. I think it all worked out, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, the Dingleberry. That was one of my. That just came to me right there when he turned and I saw his jersey was Razzleberry or something. I was like, oh shit, I got a good one here. And then he was good too, right, to come back. That was not in the script where he told me to go F myself or whatever. And then ooh.
Yeah, no, I love that reaction from you because it's like you don't take it too to heart. You're just like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I love. It was good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, that's it's water under the bridge, as they say, with the Durham guys, and they're I mean, I can tell they're good dudes. They got good hearts.
Before we wrap up, anything else on your experience with the late game that you want to share?
No, I was just I can't thank you guys enough to include me, because it was your younger crowd. It was all in that age group. You guys were all buddies and kind of tight in that certain age bracket, and to obviously I had a little bit I resonated with you a little bit over the years and stuff that you thought of me, so I appreciated that. And I mean, I did my best for you. I hope that I did the referee part, serviced it well.
I would say it's the most iconic referee in hockey movie history.
I'd agree with that. I dare someone to name a ref that's more iconic.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you make the movie better, like objectively. So we're so glad we could have you.
I appreciate that.
And just to shout out my brother one more time, he body doubles you flawlessly. I can point out a few times where, only because I'm the editor, where it's him. So Kurt can feel proud that he's in a movie too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. There's about 3 shots.
Is that when I was a diva?
It was just one of those things where, yeah, we were just so run and gun that you had a few spots where you just couldn't be there. And we didn't have like an ironed out schedule day to day either, with like, we knew when you had lines, but then there's other times where you're just dropping a puck and you don't have lines, where we're like, oh shit, we need a ref. So, I mean, Joe dresses up as you at least once, but Kirk, when we're on the ice, it's Kirk doing a couple of puck drops.
And then, just going back, my son Blake was almost in that movie too, right?
I wanted to shout him out earlier. Yeah, Blake, he helped us when we were doing test shoots about a year before. We were still hoping to shoot it in 21 before we decided just to push it off another year. But our first on-ice test footage, Blake was one of the goalies, and he was great. And I think the timing, we wanted to do it in August, and I think if that was the case, Blake could have been in it. But because he got an unexpected a junior A team or something, it seemed like it was a pretty big deal. But
his last year, yeah, he had to be there for training camp in Tampa Bay his last year, which is a big year for him. So yeah, he couldn't stick around.
That was why we couldn't do it in August, is they were putting a fresh sheet down. So he really helped us out though when we were still figuring stuff out. So yeah, definitely wanted to shout Blake out.
Yeah, no, I remember he was bummed. He was just like, oh geez. He goes, should I contact my coach and see if I can just be 2 weeks late? I said, no, it's your last year. Like this is your 4th year. Like you got to be back there and be one of the leaders and show that you. Yeah. So yeah.
And then our College of Charleston club goalie was in not even one scene, like one shot, and then he had practice after that and tweaked his hip or something. So like then we had to pull a kid from the lot who worked at the Ice Palace who didn't even play goalie. Like that's the kind of yeah, and he was a trooper. I mean, we would have been fucked without him.
He played on my teams. He played with Colton. And yeah, he wasn't a goalie, so when I skated out there and I saw him in nets, I started laughing. But he's athletic. I mean, he pulled it off.
Usually, you can obviously tell when a skater is dressing out as a goalie, but I thought he played it pretty believable. I mean, there's certain things where, like, I have a handful of friends that are goalies who I'll have to tell them ahead of time that that's not a real goalie. But I think most of the time he really holds his own.
But no, I just it was fun. I hope it's a huge success. I mean, the rentals, the numbers good with Amazon Prime. I know I'm always checking in on you to see how things are going there.
We're happy with how things are going for an indie movie, for sure.
Right on.
We just want Canada, baby. We want to get. I've been getting a lot of people on Reddit and stuff reaching out in Canada. They're just dying to see it.
Whatever your numbers are here in the U.S. for rentals, I think you can more than double it once it goes to the Canadian platform. I mean, we know why. You know why. So.
Well, yeah, we're excited to get it out there right now. We have a target of August with an opportunity. It's not 100% yet, but that's the hope.
Perfect. You're going to have to do some meet and greets then when you get it in Canada. You'll have to go see John Cook at his rinks.
We'll have to bring you around on a tour so we can have a Canadian, bring Zach Bell, bring Finn, just have all the set Canadians there.
Go have some Moosehead and have some poutine.
There we go.
Remember I introduced you to Moosehead, Jeffrey, when we went to the Blue Jay game and you fell asleep and we had to leave because get this one, Tyner. We're on the third baseline, third baseline, Boston Red Sox, Blue Jays. Blue Jays sucked at the time, but whatever. You're still, it's a freaking MLB game and you got great seats. I look over and Numbnuts beside me is out, like he's snoring. I'm like, so I nudged him. He's like, what? Like, one, be alert. Like, we're in prime area. There was no net. Yeah, and there's no protective netting like there is now. So like you could have but yeah. So I don't even know if we made it to the seventh inning stretch because he couldn't stay awake. So I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So I tell that story a lot too.
I mean, baseball's just not as engaging as hockey, though. In his defense.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a social thing, but I couldn't even be social because my wingman was goddamn sleeping.
All right, well, good times. Hopefully, many more ahead. Excited to get out in Canada to your home soon. Not where you live. You live in Charleston, but excited to get the movie out there.
All right, good luck with it, and keep pressing on, boys.